Good morning, everyone. This is Mamie, your pet loss and grief expert. Um, I want to welcome you to my channel and welcome you to take advantage of some of the products that I have. But I'm not talking about that today. I actually want to come to you to say that if you've just lost your pet or you anticipate losing your pet, if euthanasia has been scheduled for a week from now, a few days from now, even if you've just lost your pet within the last few days, few hours, whatever the case may be, I want you to understand that I understand exactly what you are dealing with, and I want you to know that your feelings, your thoughts, your emotional being right now is valid, whatever it is that you're feeling. If you are anticipating your pet's um, death, I know there's a lot of decisions that you have to make. Even if your pet just passed away, there's a lot of decisions that you have to make. And these situations sometimes can make you feel paralyzed, like you really don't know what to do. You're overwhelmed. You're dealing with all sorts of things. Um, you know, who, what, when, where, and how. Um, I'm here to support you in this process. Today, I'm going to be covering two different types of situations. The first one is anticipatory grief. Anticipatory grief is you know that the goodbye is coming. So you are trying to, your goal is to make their last day their best day. And how do you do that? There's a lot of emotional stuff that comes along with preparing for that last goodbye with your fur baby. And the second part that we're going to talk about is the immediate death of your immediate loss. What does the first few hours feel like? What should you be doing? Should you be feeling this way? Both of these situations are heartbreaking. I know, I've been there. And both deserve as much support as you can get. Um, and they both require someone who understands this gentle space that you're in. Um, what we as pet parents deal with is disenfranchised grief. And I've talked about that in a different section. Disenfranchised grief is people not validating the sacred space that you're in as you are grieving the loss of your pet. So we're going to talk about that. But before we begin, I just want everybody to know that there's no perfect way to grieve. It is what it is. There's no right or wrong way, and nobody has a right to tell you how to grieve, how long it should last, how long it should not last. You know, I just need you to own your feelings right now. You know, um, like I said, if you've just lost your pet within the last 24 hours, I know the difficulties that you're dealing with. So I am with you and I support you. Okay. Before we move forward, our first section, we're going to talk about anticipatory grief. As I said before, anticipatory grief is the grief you feel before the loss actually happens. It's heavy, it's aching, um, it's mystical in a sense because you really don't know what you're gonna deal with, You know, it may have been months that you've been watching your pet decline. It may have been weeks. It may have been hours. In my case, it was hours. You know, maybe you've scheduled a euthanasia already. But because you've never had to go through that, you don't even know what that even looks like or feels like. Um, Whatever timeline your vet has given you could be weeks, hours, days. Um, it's difficult, to say the least. But I want you to understand that anticipatory grief is real. You know, it's just like almost like you're waiting for this inevitable to happen and you really don't know what to do with yourself. It's not a practice grief, it's not less valid, and you are allowed to grieve now, even while your baby's still alive. You know, you might feel sadness or waves of sadness. You might feel guilt about having to make this decision about your pet. You may experience anxiety. You may be exhausted from even the long process of caring for your pet, or emotional drainage from thinking through things. Um, and at times you may freeze, not knowing what to do. All of these are normal parts of the grieving process. What you can do right now is honor the space with your baby. You know, make the last days their best days. You know, first of all, you need to give yourself permission to grieve. You don't have to wait. Secondly, be present with your pet, with your baby. You know, spend time with them, love on them, hug them, feed them their, if they're eating at this point, feed them their favorite food, take them for a walk if they can walk. If they can't, just lie them in the sun, lie down beside them, do whatever it is. Just love on them, and remember to make the decisions that only you can control. You know, you can decide who can be present when you have to make that decision. You can decide the location. Um, you can decide what will happen to your baby after the procedure is done. And you can talk to the pet about making it as peaceful as possible. Remember to write things down if it helps you. Tell only the people that you trust. You don't have to tell everybody. Just only people that you can trust. Take pictures of your baby. Um, and among with everything, don't feel any guilt about it. Knowing that you and your vet have come up with this decision based on the facts that's in front of you, and that's the declining health of your baby. Okay? So, and we're going to talk about, okay, so what happens after they pass away, the first 24 hours? The most important thing is to know that you don't have to rush yourself through this. Okay? If they pass at your home or at the vet's office, you don't have to rush into decisions. You can cry, you can scream, um, especially if there's you haven't given time to say goodbye, but spend as much time with your pet as you need to. A lot of times, the vet offices will allow you to stay there and be with your baby. You have a choice. You can collaborate with the vet to decide what to do with your baby. I think the most important piece here is to breathe. You know, make sure you breathe through this. Don't blame yourself. You know that you've done the best thing for your baby. If you need to take off work, do so. You know, just let them know that a lot of employers don't understand pet loss. So just tell them you have had a family emergency and need to take a personal day. for your children. Make sure you have open, honest conversations about what happened with your pet. And as I said, nothing has to be rushed through. Decision has to be made. You don't have to work through. You don't have to rush through. Things might not feel real yet, but that's why I'm here. Seek the help that you need, and I'm here for you. Have a great day.